Hi guys. It's been a very long time. My dog died. Indy to me was the symbol of all good things. I cannot proceed with this series without acknowledging Indy and then making more videos about other stuff. So, wow. I don't even know what to say about him other than that he was my best thing. And what I mean by that is, long before The Secret came out, which I have not read or seen, I came to believe that there was something to be said for visualizing what you want and believing that the universe would supply it. I think it was in 2000, I ended up dog sitting for a friend, and I just fell in love with being with that little Chihuahua, Frederick, for that time, and I realized that I really wanted a dog, which is something that has been true of me from the time I can remember. But I realized, oh, I'm an adult. I can have a dog, and it's up to me, and it's my decision, and so I want one. Yeah, I'm gonna get one. And I didn't do anything about it for a while, a long while actually. I think it wasn't until 9/11 that I realized life is short, and if I want a dog, I should get one. I decided to do some research because I thought, well, I really do like Chihuahuas, but there are lots of dog breeds out there. Maybe that there's one that's a little better for me. I got this magazine. Dogs USA. This is the 2001 edition. This magazine has all the dog breeds, a directory of breeds, and it tells you a little bit about them. And it has a list of breeders by state, and then there are also articles about training your dog, and it's a comprehensive dog magazine. It's lovely. And knowing that I live in a small apartment, I just was looking at the small breeds, and I read about the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, a dog I'd never heard of, but I realized immediately that this was the dog for me, based on temperament, size, and the face. Let me just show you the one in this magazine, okay? So which to me is like one of the cutest things I've ever seen, and how have I never heard of this breed? Now these dogs come in 4 different color combinations, but even though this was before my, oh my god, biracial revelation, I was like, this dog is black and white with a little bit of brown, and that's just like me. And then I do the other kind of research where you find out how much they are and yada yada yada, and I realize they're really expensive, and I'm probably never going to be able to get one. So I started going on Pet Finder regularly, and this kind of, oh, I want a dog, but I'm not going to be able to get the kind I want, blah blah blah, went on for like a year. And then one day I was just sitting at home angry, literally angry that I didn't have a dog. And it's something that I still marvel at because I can't describe it, although I know exactly why it happened. Anyway, so I'm in a funk, to say the least, and my roommate is like, what is wrong with you? And I said, I'm just so mad that I don't have a dog. I wanted a dog for so long, and it's just ridiculous that other people have dogs and I don't have a dog. And he said, why don't you go to the pound and fill out an application, or do something about it instead of just being mad. And I was like, a bad combination of lazy and angry, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But eventually, like an hour or two later, I was still mad, and I had to. I said, okay, so I'm going, and so I get to this pound, which is a kill shelter, so I felt, good that I would be saving a life, and even if I didn't get the dog I thought I wanted, I would get the dog that was right for me, and, everything would be great. So I'm there filling out the application, and a man walks in the door with a Rottweiler, and I swear to God, like this dog. And I was like, oh! There was a security guard sitting next to me, and I said, do you think that man could possibly be leaving that little dog here? Because that is exactly the dog that I have been wanting for over a year, but I bet he's going to leave the Rottweiler. And this man could not have cared less. Anyway, so I go out where the man and the dogs are. He's talking to the people to surrender the dog to, and I said, "Excuse me, sir, are you possibly leaving that little dog here?" And he said, "Yeah, actually, I found this dog tied up outside of the apartment building where I'm a super. It's been there all day, and I don't think anyone is coming for it." And I said, "Oh, I'll take him right now. This is the exact dog I've been looking for." And the lady behind the counter had an attitude that certainly bested my bad attitude that I'd had earlier in the day. And, you can't take that dog out of here. He hasn't been neutered. Once they walk in, they're our property. And, you can put on your application that you want him, but we can't guarantee that you're going to get him. And so I said, okay, well, I really want him. So what do I do? Anyway, that happened, and this man is ready to leave, and he says, "Well, I might find another one. Why don't you give me your number?" And I was like, "You are not going to find another tricolor Cavalier King Charles Spaniel tied up outside your apartment building." And he said, no, you never know. You never know. I see lots of things." And I was like, okay. So I gave him my number. He was just, really insistent. He would not leave. And normally that would, frighten me into never giving someone my number. But anyway, I gave him my number. He left. I waited with the dog. The little man came out from the back with a little noose-looking thing. It was so sad. Anyway, so off goes the dog, and I leave, totally unconfident that the pound is going to help me get this dog, because the lady, it was like she saw how much I wanted the dog and just didn't want me to have it. But as soon as I walk out the door, I get a phone call. The guy says, "Hi, my name is Elvio. You just met me. I dropped off that dog, and actually the dog is my girlfriend's dog, and we're moving, and we can't keep it, and you have to pay if you surrender your dog to the pound, so that's why I lied. We would rather have you have the dog instead of not knowing what happens to it." And I'm like, "Well, you should have thought about that before you dropped it off at the kill shelter." Okay, but anyway, don't judgment. A little bit later, the woman whose dog it originally was, calls, and she says his name is Indiana Jones, and I'm like, "No way. My name is Tiffany Jones, and I have history in Indiana, and I just can't believe that." And she said he's 5 years old, and I was like, "Oh, thought he was a puppy, but I still want him just as much." But I was sad right then, because I knew that our time would be too short together. But anyway, so we worked it out that she did go get the dog, and I met her there, and it cost $25 to get him out for the neutering or something, and I paid it. Maybe it was $75. Anyway, ridiculous. Much less than the $2,000 that I had found was an average price for that kind of dog. And I was like, well, it's like he's starting over, and so maybe we wipe out the first 5 years, and I'll get to have him for 10. So anyway, I got the dog I wanted. And over the years, the 7 years that I had Indy, I spent so much time with that dog that I probably spent the amount of time in the 7 years that people spend with their dogs that they have for 10. Not only did Indy not like to be alone, but frankly I didn't like to not be with Indy. Anyway, over the years, lots of crap happened, as does everyone in life. But I could never get too horribly discouraged. Sometimes I got too discouraged, but not too horribly discouraged, because all I had to do was look at Indy and remember that this thing walked out of my dreams, out of my mind, and into my life. And God heard me, and He made me go that day at that time. My God, it had to be in that 20 minutes that I was there. I mean, it just all was so perfect. And if it can happen once, then it can happen again and again and again. And so, that did a lot for my faith in that way. Anyway, I have this shirt. And, right, but if you look at the shirt in the mirror, of course, if you look at the last word, it says God. And one day I just looked up at it and I was like, I love my God. And I was like, well, I do love my God, but that's not what my shirt says. But it was such an aha moment, because I was like, there is no accident that dog is God spelled backwards. It's like a mirror of the relationship, because no matter what Indy feared, he had to trust that I was going to feed him, and that I was going to take him outside, and that I was going to do everything I could to make sure he was healthy. And that I was going to come home when I left. And even if he couldn't see me and if we weren't together, that I was still caring for him. And I think that's how we have to trust God. Anyway, Indy just meant and still means the world to me. So that's where I've been. Thanks for listening, and sorry for crying, and thank you for checking in and asking where I was. Although you would know if you'd been to my blog, because I still have been blogging, even if sometimes all I can muster is some inspirational quote.
Indy, you like your present?
This is Indy's.
Hi, buddy.
Oh, a little
Are you having a good
doctor.
Christmas?